AMG take a normal Mercedes and basically make it a lot faster. They put a big engine in it, much better brakes and so on. This SLK, for example, has a 400 horsepower V8 engine. That's 100 horsepower and 2 cylinders more than the fastest normal SLK. So you might be wondering where the Black Series cars fit into all of this. Well, put simply, they take AMG cars and make them insane. This C63 AMG Black is their latest creation, and it's a very good example. It will do 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds and go on to a top speed of around 200 miles an hour. That's sort of supercar figures. This is thanks to the rather large 510 horsepower V8 at the front, which makes an awful lot of noise, and it's the sort of noise that scientists would use to start an earthquake if they wanted to. It looks rather like a road-going DTM car as well, and while it's not exactly subtle, I would still say this is a relatively good looking car. However, while it might look like a racing car, sound like a supercar and have some impressive statistics, don't be fooled by it. This is far closer to a traditional muscle car than it is to any DTM car. If you drive it very sensibly, it will get round the track relatively well, but I can't imagine anyone having one of these and driving it sensibly. With the slightest stab of the throttle, the back will be sticking out, and it will carry on sliding until either you run out of road or you run out of bravery. It's so easy to get this thing sideways and drift in. Turn in, floor it, and all those noisy horsepowers will be making you go in sideways in no time. It's also incredibly forgiving as well. You really don't have to be an expert racer to have a huge amount of fun with this car. And even if you do decide to try and get a sensible lap time out of it, the handling isn't that bad. The brakes are very good considering this car does weigh nearly 4,000 pounds, although that's not exactly surprising when you consider the size of the brake calipers this thing has. There is also a surprising amount of understeer actually on turn-ins, but it's all certainly manageable. One thing I would like to know though is, what exactly is the rear wing doing? The purpose of a wing is to generate downforce, which forces the car, or in this case the back of the car, down into the road, giving more grip. And judging by the size of the wing here, it should be generating a lot of downforce, and yet this car is still just as happy to wag its tail as an excitable dog that's just seen a tennis ball. Remove the wing and there really is no difference to the handling. It will still be more than happy to go sideways everywhere, but with a little bit of care it can still be driven around a corner like a normal car. This car might not exactly be cheap, it is nearly 200,000 credits. That's sort of Ferrari or Lamborghini money, but it is so much fun to drive. I'd pick this over the slightly cheaper Murcielago any day. However, it is now time to see if Stig can keep it in line for a lap of our track. And here we are on the start line on a surprisingly sunny day at an English test track. Expectation wise on this car, it is a relatively high A class, so the time should be relatively good. We're looking around the Ferrari 430 and Porsche 911 Sport Classic. So yeah, coming up to the first corner, it's quite a fast car in a straight line, very good accelerating. Not bad braking either, and gets around the first corner quite nicely. You will see a number of cones over the place. Stig was having some practice laps beforehand, and this is an interesting car to get used to. Coming up to Chicago, and it's going to look quite slow this lap for any of you who have watched our recent R1 car videos. It looks very slow compared to them, but it's actually doing quite well. Now it can unleash all of its 500 horsepower down towards the hammerhead, and it's actually quite late on the brakes considering how heavy this car is. The brakes on this are humongous. It gets turned in quite nicely actually. I was expecting more understeer through here. When I was driving it I found a little bit of understeer. Stig didn't have any problems with that. And then we are coming down towards the follow through, and again it's looking quite slow compared to what we had in our last video around here, but it's actually doing quite well through here. Again, it's not too bad through the follow through. It's not been as leery and as difficult to get into that corner as some of the cars Stig has had. And through the tyre walls again, it's still pretty fast through here, 120 I think, maybe even a bit more than that. Up towards the second to last corner now, again it gets turned in nicely. The brake discs are glowing bright red there at the front, showing they're working very, very hard. There's still no understeer, or no oversteer actually, which is even more surprising, around the last corner, and there we go, finally Stig gets a little bit sideways, and the Mercedes is across the line. And the lap time for the C63 AMG Black, oh that's a mouthful, is a 1:18.6, which puts it in 25th on our leaderboard. It's not bad for the car's PI. It's around the 911 Sport Classic and the Ferraris. It's a pretty good lap time considering the That's basically a German muscle car. It's a fantastic car though. If you have the DLC and you haven't driven it, go drive it, because you'll thank me. It's an incredible car. And if you haven't got the DLC, if you have the money, go and get it, because it's just a ridiculously fun car to drive. But yes, that is it for this video, guys. So as ever, if you have a car you want to see us review, leave it in the comments section. This car was left quite a while ago. Me, Stig and Daniel are getting like all the DLC. So I've got all of it. I don't think Daniel's quite got all of it yet. Stig's got all of them now as well. So that when we do videos, we have more cars to choose from. So yes, we can use cars from all DLCs. So yes, if you have a car you want to see us review, then leave it in the comments section. But that is it for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.